Hello guys, welcome. Today in this video we'll learn about the subject of environmental protection and management system. In this subject we'll learn about the topic of environmental management studies, shaping a sustainable future. Environmental management studies plays a crucial role in addressing the multifaceted challenges facing our planet. This presentation explores the core principles, key components, and practical applications of this dynamic field. Now let's come to the introduction part of this video. Introduction to environmental management. Understanding the environment. Environmental management is a multidisciplinary field that encompasses the study of natural ecosystems, human interactions with the environment, and the impact of human activities on environmental health. It involves a deep understanding of biological, chemical, and physical processes as well as social and economic factors. And the promoting sustainability in environmental management is the ultimate goal of environmental management is to promote sustainability, which involves meeting present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This involves balancing economic development, social equity, and environmental protection. Now let's see the key components of environmental management. There are four key components like policy and regulation, monitoring and assessment, and the third is education and outreach, fourth is research and innovation. Now let's see one by one the key components. The first is policy and regulation. The policies and regulations of the environmental management are environmental policies and regulations provide a framework for managing environmental resources and protecting human health. They often set standards for emissions, waste disposal, and resource use. And the second key components are monitoring and assessment. Regulating monitoring and assessment are essential for understanding the statement of the environment and the effectiveness of management strategies. This involves collecting data, analyzing trends, and evaluating progress. Education and outreach. Environmental education and outreach play a vital role in raising awareness, promoting responsible behavior, and engaging the public in environmental stewardship. And the fourth key component is research and innovation. Continuous research and innovation are crucial for developing new technologies, solutions, and approaches to address environmental challenges. These are the four main key components. The first policy and regulation tells that how the environmental resources and protecting human health should be framed. In these policies and regulation, how the environmental should be framed and how the environment should be protected will get by this policy and regulation. And another is monitoring and assessment. Monitoring and assessment is like managing the environmental strategies, and also assessment is nothing but like analyzing trends. What are the future? If we do this thing, what is the impact on the environment in the future? This is like monitoring and assessment. Education and outreach. Education and outreach in the environmental management is nothing but every people every people in the environment need to get importance of the environmental management as they sustain in the environment. And outreach is like nothing but engaging the public in environmental stewardship, like bringing awareness towards them and promoting and realizing the responsibility towards the environment to the people or to the public. This is called education and outreach. Research and innovation. Continuous research and innovations are creating for new developing technologies. Research and innovations are mainly responsible for creating new technologies and solutions and approaches to address environmental challenges. If any environmental challenges faces, this research and innovations are responsible for giving the solution and creating a new technologies to improve the environmental management and to face the environmental challenges. Now let's see the sustainable resource utilization. The first is forest management, water conservation, and third is renewable energy. In forest management, sustainable forest management practices ensure the long-term health and productivity of forests while providing valuable resources for society. Forest management is very important as we get the long-term health, like we get many medicines and we get a pure oxygen for breathing and we get many basic sources from the forest like paper, wood, many things. This forest management should be utilized in a minimized way where the forest management should conserve. And the second is water conservation. Water conservation strategies aim to reduce water consumption and protect water resources for current and future generations. In environmental management, water conservation should be taken as a main aim where the utilization of water should be minimized or reduced and wastage of the water should be minimized and the water resources protect the water resources for current and future generations. And third is renewable energy. Transitioning to renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower helps reduce reliance on fossil fuels and mitigate climate change. As we knew, renewable energy is a pure source of the energy, where the renewable energy is produced by using solar, wind, and hydropower, which this doesn't depend on the fossil fuels. If we depend on the fossil fuels, where the burning of fossil fuels will affect the greenhouse effect and even it affects the ozone layer. It causes it causes the reason for the depletion of the ozone layer. So the reliance, like reliably relying on the fossil fuels, should be reduced and starting and getting more towards the renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower, replacing the petrol or diesel vehicles, automobiles into the electric EV vehicles, and also uh, using a chemicals produced gas. Instead of that, we would like to use a wood gas. So this way can we can use the resource utilization in the correct way. Let's see waste management and recycling. Waste reduction strategies aim to minimize the amount of waste generated in the first place. Recycling involves collecting and processing materials for reuse, reducing the need of virgin resources. Composting is a natural process that transforms organic waste into nutrient-rich compost. In this waste management and recycling, in environmental management, the waste management, the production of the waste management should minimize in the first place, and recycling involves processing, reduce the need of virgin resources. Like the waste management should involve in getting maximized recycling or reusing of the waste management. And composting is a natural process that transforms organic waste into nutrient-rich compost. By taking the organic waste, converting them into nutrient-rich compost, which is used for the agriculture purpose. This should be taken in a waste management and clean. Next is environmental impact assessment. First impact or assessment is identifying impacts. Environmental impact assessment are used to predict and evaluate the potential environmental consequences of proposed projects. The next is mitigation measures. Environmental impact assessment mitigation measures to minimize negative impacts and maximize positive ones. The third is decision making. Environmental impact assessment provide valuable information for decomposing whether or not to proceed with the project. Like environmental impact assessment is like nothing but before signing any project based on the environmental, we should measure three things like identifying impacts. If we sign for that project or if we accept that project, the future impacts are the positive or negative, we should get identified the impacts on the environment by that project. And the second is mitigation measures. Like by that project, what are the benefits and pros and cons to the environment, we should measure that. And decision making. After measuring the pros and pros or disadvantages and advantages of that project, then the decision making should be done whether the project need to be proceed or not rejected in the certain environment. Next is climate change mitigation strategies. The first is reduce emissions, renewable energy, carbon capture, sustainable land use, international cooperation. Climate change mitigation strategies is like nothing but uh, minimizing the climate change drastically. The first is reduce emissions. Reduce emissions is nothing but emissions are the gas like chemicals produced by the burning of the fossil fuels. Renewable energy. By using this renewable energy in a maximized way, we can have the sustainable climate and also carbon capture. We should have a track on the carbon capture in the moisture or in the air where the humidity gets calculated. Sustainable land use. Sustainable land use is nothing but like uh, the not to dispose of waste wherever the uh, wherever the site is there. International cooperation. Due to the international cooperation, others' waste management will be dumped in our country. This should be minimized. These five steps will minimize the climate changes in the environment. And the next is ecosystem conservation and restoration. Protected areas, habitat restoration, species management, community engagement. What how can we conserve or restore the ecosystem in an environment like protected areas? Nowadays the deforestation is getting higher and higher. By protecting that forest area by the forest management policies and regulation, we can get the ecosystem balanced and also a habitat restoration where the people will get mitigate to other places due to the climate change and all. So the habitat restoration can be done for the balanced ecosystem and species management. Species management is like nothing but production of the different species in a shorter way is by minimizing that we'll get the balanced ecosystem. And community engagement like getting involving many communities and engaging and getting awareness or spreading awareness to the community. By this also we can get the ecosystem conservation and restoration and a balanced ecosystem. Now let's see emerging technologies in environmental management. Remote sensing, artificial intelligence, biotechnology. The first is satellite remote sensing. Satellite imagery and remote sensing techniques provide valuable data for environmental monitoring. Artificial intelligence (AI) algorithms can analyze data and predict environmental trends, aiding in decision making. Biotechnology offers solutions for biodegradable and restoring degradable solutions. Now let's see real world case studies. By using these renewable energy resources, and minimizing the use of the fossil fuels like it causes the greenhouse effect and also the depletion of the ozone layer. Instead of using the fossil fuels, we can use the renewable energy sources. The case studies, real world case studies is the like what we get in this video is like minimizing the like products which harms the environment and maximizing the safer side for the environment. Thank you.